Hi, I'm back after a bit of a break. I just landed yesterday from Amsterdam. I was there with my wife and my kids. That's where she's from. It's a lovely country, the Netherlands, and I'll spare you all the details of my personal life, but I did get a chance to record a podcast with a sex worker in Amsterdam, and it was awesome. It was really cool. It really opened my eyes to that world, which is, frankly, a world I don't really think about. And I was just very curious to hear what it's like. Now, you'll listen to the conversation in just a bit, but forgive me for the first minute or so. I was kind of nervous and I didn't really know how to approach it. When was the last time anyone, you or me, ever talked to a sex worker or a prostitute? It's never, right? So anyway, just bear with me for that first minute, but I promise it was very eye-opening. And again, thank you to Lucy. That's the alias of the woman that I spoke with, and she was very generous with her time and her candor. And yeah, so before I let you guys off into the conversation, I just want to say again, if you haven't already, please subscribe. There's lots of really cool stuff coming. I have quite a lot of stuff in the backlog that I'm going to release in the next couple of weeks. And of course, bigger and better things to come. All right, enjoy. I forgot to add that there's no video in this episode. That's per Lucy's request. Not everyone in her private life knows what she does for a living, so it's a stigmatized industry, so it's a totally reasonable request, and I agree to those terms before doing this podcast with her. So now you can go enjoy the episode. So listen, I want to be super fair about this episode. And I just want to start by saying that I was really super interested, very curious, and then I was like, oh, I had all these moral conflicts in my mind about. On the one hand, I think I wouldn't want anyone in my family to be a sex worker, but on the other hand, I think, it's a part of life that can't really be. We can't get rid of it. It's the oldest profession in the world for a reason. And it's not like I'm a saint, like there's porn, right? And that's essentially, it's the dynamics are the same, right? People are getting paid to have sex, and other people, billions of people watch porn.
Yeah, and that makes them clients of sex workers.
Exactly. So, I'm not coming in here as like some saint, So I just want to say, I'm very open-minded about where this conversation is going to go, and if you feel I'm an asshole and I didn't listen or whatever, then you can say, like, you have the right to tell me don't publish this, and that's cool with me. So that's the spirit that I want to have this conversation. So and thank you for doing this.
Okay, but I think it's not a problem, because many people think like that. I wouldn't want anyone in my family to be a sex worker, but what if they're happy with it?
Yeah.
And it's their choice. Then you are not the one to tell them.
Right.
What they should or shouldn't do.
And there's something so pragmatic about the Dutch approach. But so the little that I know, it's legal, it's regulated, it's because we don't seem to be able to get rid of this dynamic in human relations, and so you might as well make it safe and so somehow an acceptable part of society. And I think that there's a lot of logic to that. I mean, again, I don't have fully formed ideas about the industry, but anyway. So, having said all that, well, who are you? I mean, where? So you're obviously Dutch.
I am, yeah.
Yeah. Where were you born?
In Amsterdam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Has the city? What? How old are you? You're in your. Am I allowed to ask? Yeah. So how old are you?
I'm 59.
59. Wow. Are you still working?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
But when people ask, I say I'm 45.
You know what? You would have fooled me. So, Yeah,
usually I get away with it.
Wait, so 59, and has the city changed much?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? In what way?
Um, this, um, like here, the city center,
Yeah.
um, gentrification.
Okay.
Yeah,
So meaning that the kinds of people living in the city center are more wealthy.
more wealthy, privileged.
But wasn't that always the case?
No, no.
No?
100 years ago, this was a slum.
Oh.
And it was just a neighborhood, a working class neighborhood. And in the 80s, we had a really big problem here with heroin. And this street, de Warmoestraat, and over there, the Zeedijk was completely controlled by junkies and dealers. And it was a no-go area.
This is when you were growing up?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And
meaning what, people were getting killed or something? Or
robbed.
Robbed, okay.
And no, I had a friend, and her mother worked in a cafe here in the neighborhood, and every now and then we went there after school.
Yeah.
And then we took off our jewelry.
That bad?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because they would. We at the time we thought, oh, we thought it normal, and it was very ugly and dirty, and the buildings were neglected, and then in the mid-90s they thought enough is enough, swipe the neighborhood clean. Of course, the drug problem popped up in another part of the city. That's the waterbed effect. But here it was good again, and then they started renovating the buildings, and now it looks nice and pretty again, because
Sure.
it's a beautiful neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then comes another type of resident, and it became very expensive now to live here.
Okay. Funny. But it's so... But was it always this touristy? I mean, we're right now in the center.
Yeah, it's always been touristy, and as long as I can remember, which is very long, it's come and see the red light district. So that it's always been touristy because it's pretty, and the church here is the oldest still standing building of Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And people like to see it because it's beautiful. But now, the last 20 years, it's become very, very busy. In 2008, the city started a campaign because there was the financial crisis at the time, and they thought, oh, we need the tourists because they bring money. It's the campaign, come and see Amsterdam, I am Amsterdam,
Yeah.
and blah, blah, blah. And now, so, there are more tourists now because of that. Also because the plane tickets aren't that expensive anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Because when I was a girl, I wanted to be a stewardess, a flight attendant when I grow up, because that was glamorous at the time.
Okay.
Well, no more so. So it's very, you can come over for a weekend.
Right.
For partying, and in the 70s or 80s, no one would do that because it would be much too expensive.
Yeah.
So these two things combined make for the area being so busy now.
It's so strange.
And a new type of residents complain. And there's not all of them, but there's a small group who sort of makes it their life's goal
Okay.
to complain. And but that's me. I don't understand why you choose to live in the center of a historic city
Right.
and then complain about tourists.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I mean...
And the over-tourism can be a problem because it goes on and during the night, and people are drunk and screaming, peeing everywhere, puking everywhere.
But
Okay.
Someone has to live here, right? So who I can't imagine anyone that lives here, anyone, rich, poor, that wouldn't be pissed off by all the noise and the garbage and the... I mean, just walking here, I stepped on some, I don't know what it was, some wrapper with ketchup.
Yeah.
It's just, it's all over the street.
Yeah, it's very dirty, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I love you mentioned the church. This is just outside the door. I love the contrast between this really old church and then literally right across from it are the windows with women staring at you, inviting you for.
Yeah, and it's
sex.
been always been like that.
Always.
Yeah, for centuries.
What do you mean?
Well, this has always been a sex work area.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. This picture is 1220.
Okay.
Amsterdam, and we are here.
Okay.
And this is where the harbor used to be. That's where now the central station is.
Okay.
So the sailors, when they had a few days off, they went into town to have a few beers and visit the sex workers. So
And go to church.
And go to church for, how do you call that, confession?
Okay.
So it said that the church also made a nice bit of money on the side from the sailors who had remorse the next day and went to confession.
Oh wow.
Make them pay for it. It was a Catholic church at the time.
Oh god.
So I wouldn't put it past them. Don't know whether it's true, but...
Right, because they emphasize guilt guilt so much. It's nice to have a factory of guilt right next to your own factory of...
yeah, but they also... you can also be forgiven.
Right.
Yeah,
but
that's
you
the
need to be
thing.
forgiven for something, right?
Yeah, that's the thing about the Catholic Church. You can do something something bad, but you can go to confession and you are forgiven, so you don't go to hell. Now it's a Protestant church,
Okay.
and it's still church. There is service every Sunday,
Okay.
and there's the working girls here around the square, and a few doors in that direction there's children's daycare center.
Oh wow, that's incredible. So, and tell me about you. So you grew up in Amsterdam. Did you have siblings?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what was your family life like?
Normal. Yeah.
And your parents. I mean, you said this was a working class neighborhood. So did both your parents work? Did your mother work?
Well, we didn't live here in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah, but both my parents worked. Yeah.
Okay. And you said siblings. So brothers, sisters.
One brother, two sisters.
And were you the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest?
Yeah.
No kidding. Okay. And do your siblings know that you're a sex worker?
One of them does. My brother's passed away, so...
Okay.
And one of my sisters knows about the whole thing.
And the other doesn't?
No.
Wow. Why? What's that?
I've told a few people, but I selected them very carefully.
And on what basis? How do you know?
Well,
someone
I
you can
thought,
trust
that I thought would be okay with it.
would be okay with it, and also to trust them that they wouldn't tell
Yeah.
other people. Okay. So you were growing, and when did you begin doing sex work?
Oh, well, only 10 years ago, actually.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm missing a whole gap of your life. How did that happen? How did it occur?
Well, originally I'm a nurse.
Okay.
And as a nurse, you see patients, clients with disabilities, and everyone wants to have a relationship, wants to have sex, but when you have certain disabilities, that can be difficult.
Okay.
Or sometimes impossible. And I felt sorry for these people. As a nurse, you can't do anything for them. You lose your job.
Right.
And then I read about an agency that mediates between clients and sex assistants, as they call it,
Okay.
or surrogates, or whatever they call it. And I thought, wow, I think I like that, and I think I can do that.
To be a sex assistant. And what is a sex assistant? Do they have sex with these patients?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And how does that work? There's a company that provides.
Well,
these things?
there's I believe 4 or 5 in the Netherlands. It's an agency, and they mediate. Because I'm an independent entrepreneur, so I'm not employed
Okay.
by them, and they mediate. And it's not when a client or their family, or when they live in assisted living, the nursing staff sometimes approaches the agency. We have this person who would like to have that experience. They go over there to meet the client, and because they need to know what type of disability they have, what their expectations are. Because some people have no experience at all.
They've never had sex.
Yeah, I've had quite a few. And and what type of woman do they like? Tall or not so tall, curvy, body shape, hair color sometimes. And then they go through their files and find the one that suits best.
Okay. And what made that switch in your mind? I mean, because being a nurse, I could imagine if the primary motivation is helping someone, being a nurse is a wonderful job for that, right? So, but you felt that you wanted to do something more.
Yeah.
And why? What was that extra that you felt was missing for you?
Because you can do this something special.
It was something special that
for clients.
Mm-hmm.
And usually what we see and what we hear back from nursing staff is that people benefit so much from it. They're more relaxed, they're happier.
Sure, I mean, getting laid is great.
Of course they would like to have a relationship, but this is sort of the next best thing.
And does it end with the one occasion, or do you have an ongoing client, or how does that?
Yeah, most of them are regulars.
Regulars, okay. Meaning what? Once
That
a
I
week?
go there every month.
Every month.
Well, not once a week. That would because it's expensive. And when you live in a psychiatric hospital your whole life and you're on benefits, yeah,
got it.
People have to save up
Right.
to be able to make an appointment with me every 6 weeks or every 2 months, and people do that.
What kinds of illnesses did these people have?
Well, can be anything. Physically disabled people, or psychiatric patients, or mentally challenged people, intellectually challenged people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And because I'm a nurse, when you're a nurse, my last job was in home care. So you go to people's houses to care for wounds or give injections, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And they can be a professor or a millionaire, or they can be a salesman at the market.
Yeah.
So all types of social class, background. When people need care, we come there. Right. So you can deal with all types of people as a nurse.
Sure.
And that comes in handy in this profession as well.
Yeah.
Being able to read the person and what can I do with them, and are they a bit shy, are they nervous, and how to deal with that.
So what was the first time like for you? Do you remember it?
Yeah, big fun. It was a client with an intellectual disability.
So mentally challenged, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And were you nervous? Was he nervous? I mean, how?
It wasn't his first time.
It was not his first time.
No,
okay.
no. And he emailed the agency because I emailed them and said I would like to do this work, and then I have an intake interview, of course, with the agency to they know what my motivation is, etc. And
so you had to be interviewed as well?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
wow.
sort of a job interview.
Okay.
And then he emailed the agency, I really want to have an appointment, it doesn't matter who you send. So that was, and 2 days later, after my intake interview, so that was my first appointment.
Wow, doesn't matter who you send. My gosh.
Yeah.
And
she said she knew him, because he had been a client for a few years, and she said, oh, he's fun. you can go there, and it would be great to have him as your first client, and...
But tell me about it. I mean, you weren't, he was fine, you said, and you were also relaxed about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had no, I mean, as a woman, I would think you don't know who's on the other side of it. You weren't scared about, or nervous about, no. Because what you thought that it was so well controlled on by this agency that you trusted them to do it, to do the work. Okay.
Yeah, they do a lot of work for you. Like they go to the client's place to see where they live and what their condition are, but also is the place suitable to see a sex assistant? Do you have enough privacy? Is there a bathroom or a shower that you can fresh up afterwards?
Yeah.
That type of practical things.
Okay.
And also, what do they expect?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
Because some people, even if they don't have any experience at all, everybody's been watching porn.
Yeah.
So that makes some unrealistic ideas.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when you tell them, well, okay, you see people having sex, but they're acting. It's actors, and there's someone with a microphone and a camera and a big light, and then somebody's action,
Right.
you know, and when you explain that, say, oh yeah, of course, yeah. It's real, but on the other hand, it's not real.
It's not real, yeah.
Yeah, but people think that's how it's supposed to go.
Right. Right.
That first we do this for 5 minutes with people with autism. Okay, so first we start with this, and then after 5 minutes, because they
Wow.
well, we can do that, but it doesn't have to be.
But even I would imagine, okay, if I can choose the partner I want and the things that we do, does it feel robotic? In other words, it's okay, I want a blowjob here, and I want you to shove something up my ass. I have no clue what people ask for, right? Is it sort of mechanical, or is it more organic? I mean, how does it...
It's more organic.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
You see how the flow goes.
But who's taking the lead? You are?
No, I'm there for the client. But sometimes when I see the client, when it's the first time and the client is nervous and a bit shy, then sometimes I take the lead. Because I think otherwise we only have 1 hour, and if I don't do something now, we're not getting anywhere. So sometimes I have to take the lead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your motivation was to help people.
Yeah.
And do you enjoy the sex as well?
Well, it's work, and I'm there for the client, and it can be fun. I sometimes enjoy it, but that's not the point.
Right.
Yeah.
So most of the times it's just you're not even. What's so hard for me to understand?
Yeah,
is,
I noticed that.
Yeah, no. Well, I've never done it before, right? But what's hard for me to understand is, sex. I've never been in a sex worker, so the sex I've had in my life has been with people who really want to, have sex with me. And there's an emotional aspect to that as well, right? It's like this build-up, even if it's for one night, but it's this build-up of, it's okay, you and I are going to have sex. But you're saying that there's a way to do it that you're not even emotionally attached or involved.
Oh no, because like I said, many of my clients are regulars, and there's people I know for 10 years.
Yeah.
So and I like all my clients, and some I really grow attached to them, and some clients has passed away, and I really miss them. But it's still work.
Right.
So and when I go there, I always check the clock, and even when I'm on the workplace, can I see the clock because I have 1 hour, and it needs to be done in 1 hour, and I don't stay longer.
Right. Yeah.
You don't do that when you're.
Of course.
When you're in an equal situation.
Right. Do you date? Do you have a partner?
No, not at the moment.
Not at the moment, but in the years that you've been working.
Sort on and off.
On and off. Because I wonder what this job does to your sense of for love. Do you believe in love? What is that?
In love?
Yeah, romantic love.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You felt it in your life.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's two different things.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but you don't associate sex with love.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Yeah. But when you are in love with someone and you do have sex with them, it is obviously different.
Of course.
Right. Okay. God, it's just so. I'm sorry if I'm.
Yeah.
But okay, so how does it all work? I mean, do you still work with this agency, or do you? Yeah. But for example, the women in the windows. There's no agency, right? It's just someone that comes into the window and says, I guess I'd like to have sex, right? And they pay them. Yeah.
The women in the windows are
Yeah.
all independent entrepreneurs,
Okay.
registered at the Chamber of Commerce, and you have to be, otherwise you can't rent a window, because it's very regulated.
And there's a company that sells space, these windows.
They rent it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can go there and to a company or a location where you'd like to work, and then you also have to have an intake interview because they need to be sure that you're not being trafficked.
Oh, wow.
It's not watertight. You can lie to them, but they work with sex workers all day, so they know what they're dealing with, and if they don't trust it, they would not accept you as a renter.
So one way to screen for that is, are the foreign women that work here?
Most of them here in this red light district are.
Are foreigners. So how do you know that they're not being trafficked?
Through the interviews.
You asked the specific type of questions.
Yeah.
Wow. But the chances that they're being trafficked are higher if they're foreign, I would imagine, no?
Not necessarily.
No?
The cases of human trafficking and forced prostitution that are known by the police, it's usually Dutch girls, underage girls.
Oh, okay. Wow.
From vulnerable background, and that's the technique that they call lover boys. So you have these boys and they shower these girls with attention and they know how to pick them. It's usually vulnerable girls from broken families, a bit neglected, and then they make them fall in love with them, and then they
make them work.
Make them work for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, it's terrible.
And here, like I said, it's very well regulated and very controlled and very safe. The cleaners, but they're a bit noisy.
How is it regulated? So a stranger walks into one of these windows. They pay the girls the money, the women the money. They have sex, but who is there to sense if the client is a psycho or wants to, hurt women or?
Well, you decide that yourself.
The sex worker.
The sex worker, yeah.
What is the difference between sex worker and prostitute, if I may ask?
Well, it's more the idea. I think when you say prostitute, you think of a sex worker that has physical contact with the client.
A sex worker has physical contact?
Yeah, with the client. When you say prostitute, you think of women in the windows or escort, but
okay.
Like you also porn actors and webcammers and strippers, etc., are also sex workers, but they do not have personal contact with the clients.
Okay.
Webcamming is very become great last 2 decades. So.
Right, but the women in the windows are prostitutes in that sense.
That's what you expect when you say prostitute. But we prefer the word sex worker, but also because it emphasizes that it's work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody these days are sex workers.
Okay.
So they're independent entrepreneurs, and the companies, the window managers, they just rent out the rooms. And the rooms are suitable for the job.
Mm-hmm.
It's the municipal healthcare has standards for these rooms, that the materials must be easy to clean, and disinfect. So the mattresses are the the hospital type, you know, that you can
Wow. Okay.
clean up. Like I said, that photo is from the 90s.
Yeah.
So a working room like that would not be allowed anymore.
Sorry, because it's only audio, but you're pointing at a photo of.
Yeah, a normal mattress with a blanket and a rug on the floor. That
wouldn't be kosher today.
would not be allowed no.
Okay.
Because the municipal healthcare checks the rooms. If you, one of the companies told me they took over a number of rooms from another company that went out of business, and they had to redecorate them and bring them up to date.
Okay.
Because they were a bit old, the rooms, and before you can open, the municipal healthcare comes to check whether it's the materials are right, is it easy to clean, but also is it good for the working ladies? Do they have a shower and a toilet for themselves?
Oh, wow.
Or maybe they share with a colleague, and that has to be in order.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, so again, I've never been inside one of these rooms, but does it just look like some sort of a hospital bedroom? Like what are we looking at?
No, not really. It's
hard to get horny in a hospital.
Yeah. So it's red light, which brings more of a romantic atmosphere,
Okay.
and also red light is very becoming. Takes years of you, and and
I didn't know
yeah.
that trick. Is that true?
Yeah.
Red light takes years off your face?
Yeah, it smooths the skin and wrinkles and
No kidding.
yeah.
Okay. Funny. Tricks of the trade.
And also, it is very safe. The rooms can only be opened from the inside.
What do you mean? There's the window, and then there's a door in the back? Or no?
No, look at that picture. You see there's not a door handle on the outside.
I see.
Yeah.
So only the woman from the inside can open.
Can open the door.
Okay.
So if you think that client looks too drunk, or looks like a homeless person, or looks like whatever, you just don't open the door. And when you open the door, it opens to the inside, so you can negotiate, and if they are being rude, you can easily slam the door in their face. There's CCTV cameras, maybe you noticed,
No.
not in the rooms, but pointed at the street.
Okay.
There's always somebody in the office checking the footage. So if they see there are people misbehaving outside, they can come and give assistance.
This is the rental company.
Yeah. And in the rooms there are what they call the panic buttons.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have trouble with the client, you can press the alarm and then they come and assist you.
Oh, and how much time do they arrive?
They have to be able to be there within 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
That's a regulation, that's a rule.
Wow, that's terrifying for 7 minutes.
Well,
If you're pressing the panic button, that means something's gone.
The rooms here around the square are all run by the same company, and their office is maybe you saw the 5D Pawn Cinema.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, their office is right next door.
Okay.
So they can be here
It's quick. Yeah.
in 3 minutes.
God. And so you've never worked in one of these rooms, right?
Not here.
Oh, but in Amsterdam, yes. Okay. And did you develop a sense, for who's a client that's just up to no good versus, yeah? Did you have to learn from bad experience, or you just had a sense and you trusted your instinct?
Yeah.
Yes.
But sometimes you accept the client, and it's usually negotiating. What does he want? How much do I charge? And then you come to an agreement. It's a business agreement.
Right.
And so the client comes in, you close the curtains, and he pays. It's always payment first, before we do anything. And this client started chatting, and then he started touching me. So I slapped his hand away, said, no, pay first. And blah, 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 blah. And then it didn't look like he was going to pay, and he wanted to. So I just opened the door again and kicked him out.
But that was already after he had entered
Yeah.
into the room. Okay. But that's why you negotiate with the door open.
Yeah.
And are there questions that you ask where it's simply, will you pay?
Well, of course they'll pay. They know that they have to pay.
Right,
Usually
right.
they ask, how much do I charge?
But what other signals are you looking for when you think, oh, this guy is no good, or woman, I don't know.
I don't know. It's just
But most cases
intuition.
It's fine. Most cases it's
yeah,
fine.
most cases it's fine.
Yeah. Wow.
And because here it is very safe and very well regulated and it's legal in the Netherlands, that's why those girls from other countries choose to work here.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's legal, that means when something's wrong, you can call the police.
Right.
And they won't arrest you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like in other countries where sex work is illegal, you don't have any rights. And situation has to be very bad before you call the police.
Right.
Because they'll arrest you. And in societies where the police are maybe a bit bent, that's what the girls tell you, that it's the police is the thing you have to fear the most.
Right.
Because it's very common that you are raped by the police or blackmailed, or they demand free sexual service because you don't have any rights.
Oh God.
Doesn't happen here.
Wow. Is there a community of sex workers? Do you all talk to one another, or does that?
Yes, yeah. There's
Okay.
a big sense of community.
What's that community like?
Now, for example, during the lockdowns, of course, we were not allowed to work. And if you are an independent entrepreneur, you could apply for government support. And then you would have 1,000 or 1,100 euros. But when you live here in Amsterdam, that's the rent.
That's what it costs a month for that small little window.
No, not for the window, but for your house.
Oh, for your house. Okay, sorry.
For your house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So, and the people who worked in the clubs and private houses didn't have any support at all, and were not given any support by the government. And
because they weren't registered, or?
No, you aren't registered as a sex worker, but they are not independent entrepreneurs, but they're not employees either.
Huh?
Yeah, that's a complicated system designed by the tax company. They do pay tax, however.
But they're not. They're like not. They're not in the system. How do they? So what? That's strange.
Yeah, so they couldn't apply for support, but within a week, we had the Dutch Emergency Fund. Was founded by a sex worker, and you could donate money to them, and they held online bingos. It was hilarious, it was big fun. So they gave out money for sex workers who didn't have a source of income, so that at least they could buy groceries.
Wow.
So it was within, but that was support from the community itself.
Cool.
Not by the government.
Wow. And what is the sense of is it a sense of, like, I guess in any community of professionals, that you all understand each other best more than anybody else, and so it's nice to hang around people who understand the beats of the game that you guys play.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain yourself.
Yeah.
In other words, right? Like, you don't have to talk to annoying people like me. How is my line of questioning so far? Is it so, you know, it sounds like you're used to this kind of stuff, these kinds of questions.
Yeah, a bit.
Oh. A bit.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. But I think it is useful for people to listen to another point of view. Like you said, you wouldn't like anyone in your family, so you have a certain idea of sex work, which is probably different from mine.
Yeah.
And instead of saying that that's not good, you shouldn't do that, you listen to me.
Oh,
You try to inform yourself.
and most people, when they talk to you, they're talking down to you, or what's the sense you get?
Institutions do, yeah.
Yeah, but you even said it yourself that you wouldn't want someone in your family doing this work.
No.
Oh, you didn't say that. Okay.
I didn't say that. You said that.
No, I know I said that.
Yeah.
But I think you said anyway. Fine. So you're fine with it. But I mean, when we communicated over email, you said no cameras, which is fine and completely understandable. You said that your niece, right, is in school and you wouldn't want her to get bullied.
They're teenagers, so.
And do they know?
No.
So they also don't know about it. Okay. What if I may ask, what do you tell them that you nurse? Yeah. Okay. So in society, if people know what you do, broadly speaking, it wouldn't be good for you and your family. What's your?
Yeah, there's still a stigma, and there's still a very people have an opinion about it, which is usually negative.
Sure.
And that's also caused by the media. When you see or hear something about sex work, it's always the bad things.
So can I say, so when I told people that I was going to do this, especially the Dutch people, they said, think whatever you want, but at least, as you say, it's you have rights, and you have a certain level of protection, and better that way than what else else exists in the world, which is, as you said, right,
because there are many
rape,
countries where sex work is illegal, but it still exists.
Everywhere, right?
Only the sex worker doesn't have any rights, is in a bad position.
Yeah. But would you say that most? Let me ask differently. What is the background of women who do this as a profession? Because I think the stigma there is, as you said, neglected, or comes from a broken family, or a terrible relationship with fathers.
That's the girls that the lover boys pick on.
Yeah.
But the people who work here in the windows are just very strong, independent women.
But come from.
No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily what?
What I said is that the cases that are known by the police are the victims of the lover boys.
Yeah.
And they're usually underage girls, which is illegal. It's illegal to have sex with a minor.
Right.
With a person under 18.
Right.
So that's a crime in and of itself. And people prey on these type of girls. But if you work in the windows, you have to be over 21.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to show your passport to prove every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Why?
Why, indeed?
Okay, that doesn't make any sense.
No, because it's so regulated.
Mm-hmm.
And the police and the municipality check every now and then. And so you have to have your ID with you, which you have to have always.
Right.
But also your registration with the Chamber of Commerce, because when they ask, you have to show them.
Okay. Wow. Even though you're paying a company to rent a space and they know you and all that stuff. Okay.
If I worked at the same company for 5 years, the day I forget my papers, they send me home to collect it. And they wouldn't let me work if I don't have the things with me.
Wow.
Because if the police comes and check, which they don't do every week or every month, and you can't show that, then I don't get fined, but the company gets fined.
Oh, okay. Got it. So
A hefty fine.
Oh.
And
okay.
When it happens another time, they may lose their license.
Oh, okay. So it's serious. Okay.
It's serious, yeah.
Got it. Okay. Good Lord.
And because I'm an independent entrepreneur, I go to the office, I pay the rent for the day,
mm-hmm.
for my room, and then for the duration of the shift, it is my shop. So I decide what goes on there,
Mm-hmm.
which clients I accept and how much I charge them. and which service I provide. I don't have to give a percentage of my earnings to the company.
You're already paying them rent. Yeah.
I pay them rent, and that's it.
Yeah.
I only have to give a percentage of my earnings to the tax inspector.
Right.
Because we pay tax 21%.
Right. You don't have to answer this, but I'm just curious, like what kind of money is involved? How much does it cost to rent a window?
For a day shift, around 100 euros per shift.
€100, and a shift is how long?
Starts around 10 in the morning until 7 in the evening.
Really? I would think that there'd be a lot of activity at night.
Oh yeah, that is the night shift, which starts at around 8 and until 4 or 5 in the morning.
And that's a different price?
That's around 200 euros.
Okay, per day?
Yeah.
Okay, and then how much does a kind of woman earn the day shift and night shift?
It depends on so many things. It's very difficult to say. The weather.
Really?
Yeah, when it's cold and rainy, people don't go out. And
they don't want some bodily.
Yeah, but first you have to go out in the rain and yeah.
Okay.
And
but here
when
cold
there's
and rainy all the time.
That's all the time.
I mean, okay, you're right. Sorry, but 80% of the time. I come from Israel, where it's hot and sunny.
Yeah, well, yeah. We have more rain than in Israel, that's true. But it's not bad as you would think.
Okay, fair enough. So, weather, interesting. So in the winter...
And when there's football on TV.
That's funny. So that drives away clients?
They just don't come.
They don't.
They watch football. Yeah.
There's this great study that was done that men's sex drive, their libido goes up or down depending on whether their sports team win or loses. So if they're attached to a team and the team wins, they have a higher sex drive, and if they lose, then the sex drive goes way down.
Oh, well, I never heard of that, but I think it makes sense.
Yeah. But so it's mostly locals that come? Because it sounds like...
Well, here in this red light district, the majority of the clients are tourists.
Majority?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is also one of the benefits because the girls being from other countries, that it's not necessary to speak Dutch. You need to speak English because you have to negotiate with the clients,
right.
But it doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
And the other 2 red light districts we have, because we have 3 in Amsterdam, that's where more Dutch clients come and less tourists because they don't even know. We have more than 1 red light district, so
right.
they don't go there.
I didn't know there's 3. What? Okay, so what are there's this. This is called the Valla, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And are they all in the Valla, or this is...
No, this is the Wallen, and there's another area that's not far from here, maybe 10 minutes walk, around the Singel and Spuistraat.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a small red light district at the Ruisdaalkade.
And
that's in the south.
That last one is for the locals?
The 2 last ones, yeah.
The 2 last ones, okay.
Yeah, that's more locals come here.
Okay.
Or Dutch, not necessarily Amsterdammers, but Dutch people.
Okay. And would you say that the motivations for the women that work in the industry is like yourself, that they want to help people, or it's about the money, or they're...
It's about the money.
The money.
Yeah, you can make you can make good money here.
So what is good money? I mean, try to get a sense of...
Well, when you have good shift, you can make a couple of €100 per shift.
Couple €100 per shift, and if you're doing that 5 days a week, yeah, you're making a decent living.
Yeah.
Okay. And are these women trying to support a family from where they came from? And you said a lot of these are foreigners.
Yes, yeah. Many of them do, or they save up for their when they go that they can go to university.
Oh, wow.
Many of them have estates back home.
What do you mean estates?
Houses. They have several houses sometimes. Yeah.
Whoa, huh?
To invest their money in stone. So
Oh,
you can
goodness.
have, yeah.
So they earn money here to buy property back where they are. And...
Yeah. 50 euros is a lot of money in Romania.
Okay. Wow. There's so much that I imagine that you learn in this community, right? This is part of humanity that we people not in that community don't know.
Yeah. And that's okay, because you can't know anything, but just don't have an opinion about things that you don't know enough about.
Yeah.
And that's what people do.
Well, and everything, right?
But when it comes to sex work, there's also morality plays a big part.
So I'd love to talk about that. What do you mean by that?
Well, sort of the discussion about sex work is sort of controlled by the Christian organizations, the religious organizations.
Yeah, who have a view of sex. Essentially, what I was.
Their point of view is that sex is only legal within marriage between a man and a woman, and everything apart from that is not good. And if people want to live by that rule, whatever makes you happy. I mean, who am I to judge that? I don't judge that, but they judge me.
Yeah.
They're telling me that what I do is not good.
Right. And
that I have to stop, and that I have another choice. Well, yeah, I know that. But why? What should I if I'm happy doing what I do?
Are you happy?
What problem do you have with that?
You're happy to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more exciting than a day in the office, sitting behind a computer all day.
Now you're judging us.
No, I'm just saying that I think it's more exciting than that.
What's the excitement about it? Is it just...
You never know what's going to happen.
But
you can have big fun with clients as well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it never gets boring?
Well, it is boring, well, in the windows when it's a quiet day. Sometimes you only get your first client at 3 o'clock, and then I've been there since 11. It can be boring.
Yeah. When I was standing outside waiting for you, there was a woman... She popped out of her window and lit some incense. Yeah. It was a really lovely smell, but and then started sort of whistling at me. That got me a little nervous. But she was probably just having fun with me. Yeah. She was bored, I guess.
Yeah, I noticed the incense. Yeah.
What So, what does fun mean? Fun in the sex, or fun also in the conversation? When you're in a window, is it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long it lasts, and then they're out? Or,
yeah, it's usually the average time clients spend is 7 to 10 minutes, and the usual it's because you're all independent entrepreneurs. You run your own shop, so you have your own rates. But there's a sort of unwritten agreement that the minimum amount is 50 euros, okay. 50, for 15 minutes.
For 15 minutes, okay.
Yeah, and if the client wants to stay longer or if they want more, they pay extra.
Ah, so you negotiate the time?
Yeah.
Not what's done in the room?
Also, yeah.
Okay, so the two things that you say are the price is X for whatever you want to do, plus how long you want to stay with me.
And I actually set an alarm.
Oh, wow.
15 minutes. And usually when the alarm goes off, the client's already gone.
Oh, God. Okay. Has that ever happened that the alarm went off and you're in the middle of the festivities?
Yeah, sometimes. And sometimes they say, well, your time is running out. If you want to stay longer, you have to pay. And again, yeah.
Talk about a captive consumer there. I mean, if they're in the middle of it, then
yeah,
they're gonna pay. Oh God. So okay, but tell me what the fun is. The fun is getting to know the person in those 15 minutes. You said it's exciting. So what?
Yeah, but there's so many different people, and I had an English guy a while ago,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a bit drunk. But they always complain about the drunken British people here.
Mm-hmm.
But British people are fun, even when they're drunk. They're still funny. So this guy was, and because he was drunk, he didn't really could get it on, but it didn't matter, and he had fun, and he gave me another 50 euros, and then he phoned his mate, because his mate was outside. Hey, where are you? And he went looking for his mate, stepped out of my room, stark naked in the middle of the street, started completely hilarious.
Are you laughing when this is going on? Or?
Yeah.
It is funny. So you must have just the craziest stories then.
Yeah.
So when you look at people, and you walk in the street, and you see people dressed up, pants, dresses, sunglasses, shoes, walking around with their iPhones but you actually see them at their most animalistic.
Yeah, probably.
Right? And it's a reminder that that's what we are, essentially, right? We're, where we came from is not different than what you see in the zoo. You almost, you have these like bag of stories. I'm just assuming, you tell me if I'm wrong, that's just like, it's this reminder of that. You kind of laugh at us, all of us, right?
Did we laugh at?
In other words, you have these stories for like this English guy.
Yeah.
Right. Drunk, naked, walking in the street. And, I bet that people have at least one story in their life that's kind of like that.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Right. And you just get to witness it almost on a daily basis or something. Wow. How much longer do you think you're going to do this?
I have no idea. Well, there's one lady to beat.
How old was she when she stopped? In that picture there, she's 81. Right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I think she stopped shortly after that.
God. What kind of man, now I'm going to sound like an asshole, but what kind of man would pay to have sex with an 81-year-old? Or I'd be surprised. It was the regulars that grew old with her. Whoa.
And many times, and they because they trust you, and they know you for so long, and it was more about, at that stage, having a cup of tea and talking about the grandchildren.
Oh, so it wasn't about the sex. It was just
not necessarily.
Oh wow. Do you have? I mean, you said that. I know you said that with as you started out, you had clients that have a relationship with them for 10 or so years, right? Some of them, you said, have even passed away. Has it ever morphed into that, where it started as sex and then it became just talking about life? Or it's always about the
Yeah,
sex?
well, in the windows, there also was a client who wanted a massage. And, okay, and then after 15 minutes he said, well, this is nice, I'm going to stay a bit longer. And he paid for a bit longer and told me his whole life story.
Wow.
Maybe it's easier to talk if you want to talk to someone that you don't know.
And what do you? I mean, you're there to listen. I suppose.
Yeah.
But do you offer any advice or anything to say? No, you just.
Well, if people ask for it.
Has it ever happened? Wow, my God, what a life you've had.
Yeah, you seem very surprised.
I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
How would I know? My reaction, I think. The
I
only
believe
natural reaction is surprise,
I
right?
believe in Israel they have the Nordic model, right?
I don't know. I know nothing about it.
Oh.
What's the Nordic model?
Yeah, that was invented in Sweden, which means that selling sex is legal, but buying it is not. The clients are clients are criminalized. Yeah.
So it's legal, but if you're caught and you're the one paying, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And what's the logic behind that?
Yeah, that's a good question. They said, yeah, we need to protect the sex workers, and we want to discourage people from buying sex. But of course, it doesn't work like that. But what happened was that, um, like you see people here negotiating at the door.
Yeah.
Well, of course, when you have the Nordic model, that's impossible. Because the police would be here and anyone speaking to us, so that's not possible. So you don't have you have very little time to negotiate and screen or sort of assess your client. Does he look? Because you will be taken away to some background alley, or so it goes all in the dark.
Right.
So it makes it more dangerous. And there's figures that prove that because in Sweden it's been implemented some 5-6 years ago, so a while they have a while experience with it, and violence towards sex workers has increased. Which makes sense, of course.
Right. Because you can't be seen doing it.
Yeah.
So you have to go somewhere, as you said, dark, some private place, and then Lord knows what happens there.
Yeah.
And what is the risk of violence towards this? I know here it's very low, but what is it in general that men who have clear mental problems are looking to hurt someone and they say, oh, I'll hurt a prostitute because no one cares? Like, is that the thinking?
Well, in the Netherlands, every year, approximately 40 women are killed by their partners or ex-partners.
Just in general, women. Okay.
So if you look at it like that, it's safer to be a sex worker than to get married.
Jesus. Yeah.
And things happen, but that doesn't make it a dangerous profession per se. Especially here, because here it is very safe. And there's cameras, and there's police cameras, and it's a residential area.
Yeah.
And there's always people around. So when things happen, it's not here. In general, it's when you go to a client's home as an escort.
Okay.
Because you don't have the protection that you have.
Is there illegal sex work in Holland, or is it's all regulated? Does it?
It's complicated because the sex work is legal, but we can only work in licensed places.
Okay.
Which means window brothels or clubs or private houses or escort services, but not in your own house. And then they call it illegal prostitution, but it should be a legal profession, but in an unlicensed place. Like I said, complicated.
Right. So like smoking in a restaurant. You can smoke outside, but not in a restaurant.
Something like that, yeah. Something like that.
It's the first thing that came to mind. I don't know. So you don't know how much longer do you have a sense of when you'll stop?
No.
Just whenever you feel like.
Just see how it goes.
Yeah. Because the pension age in Holland for women is 62, 63 or so, or no?
No, it was 65 in the Netherlands.
Okay.
But because we are growing older, it's now 67.
For women as well?
No, for everyone.
For everyone, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
but you could, if you felt like it, you would do it beyond your pension age?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why there was these big riots in France, because they wanted to increase the pension age from 61 to 64 or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, what are you talking about? We have to go until 67. Yeah. And then you get state pension.
So, is it fair to say that you love what you do?
Yeah.
Bizarre. But like.
Yeah.
But for someone like me, it's mind blowing. Also, because it's so rare to find someone who loves what they do. Seriously. No, I think yes, so many of my friends are not satisfied with their work. I'm not saying they should all be sex workers, right? It's not for everyone, I imagine, but we get one life.
Yeah,
and-
well, I loved being a nurse as well,
yeah,
but it became more and more and more regulated and checklist. And the insurance company are so afraid that they have to pay 5 cents too many. So you have to make lists and lists and lists after that, and work in the office to satisfy the insurance company, because you have to make a new assessment every 3 weeks. It is still necessarily that you go there twice a day for 15 minutes. Can't you do it in 10? And even for clients, we had a client with an how do you call that? He had an accident and he broke his back.
Okay.
So he was in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
That is never going to change.
Right.
That's never going to change. That's never going to heal.
Yeah.
But even then,
You have to do all this bureaucratic.
you have to do
shit.
all this bureaucratic red tape. Yeah.
Now it's starting to make more sense because.
And you have to have a laptop with you, and you have to.
So you went into nursing to help people, but to feel it, to see it, that what your work contributes to their wellness. And your job became more and more sitting in an office and typing and filling out forms and all this.
Filling in forms and filling in protocols and
Right.
doing this and doing that and check boxes all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sex work is the most intimate way of knowing that the things that you do in life is actually helping someone in some way. Yeah, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It just clicked in my mind.
Yeah.
I can't get over and this is just a thing in my head, the separation between sex and love. Like that for me is tough to separate.
Yeah, but then probably you shouldn't become a sex worker.
I'd be bad at it anyway. So.
Yeah, well, it's not. I think it's not a job for everyone.
But men.
But that's with many jobs. Nursing is also not for everyone.
Right.
I suppose.
Are there male sex workers?
Oh
in
yeah,
the
a
city
lot.
as well? But not in these windows.
Not
right?
in these windows.
So where do they work?
Online.
Online. Oh, you know what? Okay, this is what I want.
Yeah, and there's also a male brothel.
What?
Only
Really?
one left. Yeah. The boys' club.
So women and men go there to have sex with.
That's usually for male clients as well. Male sex workers for male clients. But there's also male sex workers for female clients. It's called gigolo. And that's sort of escort service.
Right.
You go to a website and you make an appointment with a male escort.
Yeah.
And that's also businesswomen who need to go to a reception for their work and like to have male company.
Mm-hmm. But for women, or for men, I suppose it's different because men are rejected so much when they're pursuing women, and women can have sex with. I mean, they make the choice, right? Because they're the ones doing the rejecting.
Usually, I think so, yeah.
So they have no need for male prostitutes, I would imagine. So it makes sense that the male prostitutes service male clients.
Yeah, but there's also there's a difference between the clients that goes to the windows and the client that hires an escort, because this is the 10-minute thing.
Yeah.
But not everybody likes that.
Mm-hmm.
So they would like to have a drink and a chat, and that's what we call the girlfriend experience.
Right.
So they don't come here; they hire an escort, or they go to a club.
Have you done that as well, escort work?
Well, sort of, yeah. The type of work I do with people with disabilities is as sort of, because I go to their place.
Right, and it's longer.
And many times I have to, because they're not able to travel, but it's longer. The minimum time I spend there is 1 hour.
Right, minimum.
Minimum.
Okay, and obviously that's not all going to be sex. A lot of it is talking and... Yeah.
Talking, having a cup of coffee first, and a chat, and making people at ease.
Right. Wow. What a world.
Yeah, what a world.
I think there's a zillion more questions I'd love to ask, but I think this is a good place to stop. No, what do you think? Or is there anything else you want to tell me that we haven't even asked?
Yeah, one of our slogans is sex work is work.
Mm-hmm.
It's a job that you make a living, and situations are made more different when there's sex work involved. For example, if you work at a supermarket and you have a boyfriend who's lazy, sits on the sofa all day watching TV, you just have a lousy boyfriend.
Yeah.
But when you're a sex worker and you have the same boyfriend, they say you're being exploited and you're being forced to work.
Okay.
It's a different point of view. My sister needed a company car because she has a gardening business with her husband. Could buy a new car, but they were a few €1,000 short, so I lent it to her and she paid me back. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
But had she been a sex worker, then it would be said that she is forced to work by me because she has to repay me.
Okay, right.
Which makes her a victim.
Right. And the underlying assumption in that point of view is that no one chooses to go into sex work. In other words, you're making the point that the women who work in sex work choose it. It's a choice that they make, and people like you say that we're happy to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And you need money to pay the rent, or you need money to because you borrowed a few €1,000 from your sister to buy yourself a new car, and repay them.
Mm-hmm.
And when, like I said, my sister is gardener, no problem. But when should she be a sex worker, then they say, oh, but you're a victim. You'll be forced to work. And if you look at it that way, that explains why there are so many different figures. When they say how many people are being forced into sex work, there's reports, and it depends on how the person that makes the reports think. How do they define force or exploitation?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You need money to pay the rent. We all need money to pay the rent. We all work because we need money to pay the rent and to buy food.
To live, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you put it like that, everybody is forced to work.
So we're all sex workers in a way?
We're not different from sex workers.
Yeah.
We all need money.
Yeah.
We need to make money to live. And if you choose to do that by selling sex, that's one choice you can make.
Right. But would you agree that I don't know if it's the majority, but many women are forced into it in a definition that you would find agreeable, that they're pushed into that direction? Whether
there has been research done by a sociologist,
mm-hmm.
a professor, so it's scientific research and it's done in the correct way. And her estimate was that maybe 10% of sex workers are being forced.
In the Netherlands or worldwide?
In the Netherlands.
Oh, okay, but I meant more generally, more broadly speaking, in countries where it's not as sophisticated as it is here.
Yeah, well, when it's illegal, and the circumstances are so different from here.
You'll find more abuse.
Yeah, and it would not be as clear.
Right.
Because here I'm just an independent entrepreneur. I run my own business.
Right. Okay. Sorry.
But that wouldn't even be possible in a country where it's illegal.
Yeah. So you were referring to the Netherlands. Okay. That's a distinction that's worth mentioning. Okay. But that makes sense. I mean, from what you've described.
And you can't compare that to countries where sex work is illegal, because the way it's done here, where I run my own business, that would not even be possible, of course.
Right.
In a country where it's illegal.
Yeah. And essentially the work is the same. It's a distinction in narrative in our own minds of what
Yeah,
the laws are.
unless except from here it being very safe,
Yeah.
very well regulated.
Yeah. Right, but the transaction is the same: money, sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this. This was very educational, I have to say.
Yeah, you named the politician that recommended PIC. You approached PIC, right?
Yeah.
So I googled him
Okay.
because I wanted to know which party he was from,
Okay. Yeah.
and he's Volt.
Meaning?
His party has a positive approach towards sex work.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But is the majority of the country pro or con?
That's again difficult. They're usually not in my backyard. I don't have problems with sex workers, but...
It's the but that you...
Yeah. And, well, currently we don't have a functioning government anymore.
Yeah.
But the problem with the government that we had was that there were Christian parties in the government.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very bad news for us.
Okay. And well, we'll see what the next government is. But these parties, do they have any real power to?
When they're in the government, yes, because the
But they make it a policy to end the industry.
Yeah, the Christian Union,
Mm-hmm.
they had 5 seats in parliament out of 150, and I think that's a good representation of Christianity, strict Christianity in the Netherlands, because the majority of the Dutch people aren't religious at all.
Mm-hmm.
5 seats, so that's a good representation. But these 5 seats were needed to have a majority in the government.
And they demanded as part of that.
They demanded that the government should have this law proposal to regulate sex work, as they called it, which is already regulated, and they said it's to fight human trafficking, which is already illegal, so you don't need an additional law for that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the way they wanted to do that was to have every sex worker needed to be registered in a national database.
Okay.
No, not okay.
Oh, sorry. Why?
With your name and your social number.
That anyone can access?
And well, not anyone can access. Who can access? Well, the police. Well, there's quite a lot of policemen, and any database can be hacked. Which means, and you had to be registered with your own name, your passport name, and your social number. So,
but as far as I understand, you're already registered in the, I forget what
Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
But in the category personal care. And that can be many things.
Oh, so you're in a wider group of people that are okay. So they want to single your industry.
And when they asked me to specify my type of personal care, I believe I said dog walking, because it's a sort of other personal care. It's a sort of category where they put things that they doesn't fit in any, because it's also fortune tellers and street musicians.
Okay.
So it's a big variety.
Yeah.
Because anyone can type in my name at the website of the Chamber of Commerce and see what kind of business I have.
And you're a dog walker on that.
I'm a dog walker on that.
Okay. But the category sex worker doesn't exist in the care.
Oh yeah, I said dog walker, but you can also say sex worker, but you don't do that.
You don't do that?
No.
Because then people...
Privacy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And a national register of database that's against registering someone as a sex worker is a personal information about your sexuality, which is not even legal to register that. It's against the law.
Mm.
Another thing is that such a register doesn't help fight human trafficking. Even the Human Trafficking Organization said that.
The thinking there is, okay, so everyone that's doing this legally is on this list, and then there's the other people that we have to then start worrying about, okay, what's the provenance of all this stuff? But then how do you track those people who aren't? Well, at least you have that list to compare it to, though, no? Don't they have a point? Or
No, they don't have a point at all.
I get the privacy
It
stuff.
does, yeah.
But
It
the human
doesn't.
trafficking, I'm still struggling to understand your objection to that. Not because I was just.
Do you think
explaining to
someone
me.
who is being forced that they are going to let them register?
Of course not.
Of course not. So
Right.
it doesn't help.
But yeah, but that's the point, right? So there's the legitimate list, and then there's the stuff that they're supposedly concerned about, right? Which is human trafficking. But if you're not on that list and they see you working, then they have reason not to question this person and say, well, what's going on?
Yeah.
Who's profiting from this? No?
Also, if I'm registered, that doesn't prove I'm not being forced, or vice versa. But it is a violation to privacy in a very stigmatized profession.
Right. And you don't trust these people with this list? With this
No, I
information?
don't trust these people with this list.
Right, because they have different views.
And another thing is, I have a not a very common family name, and my cousin is a policeman.
Meaning?
He might check the registers and find.
Oh, and
Me?
find out about you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And he doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. It's complicated. Do you does it bother you? So, I mean, when you with people who don't know, even your sister, right? That you said doesn't know. And this how's work? Oh, it's okay. I mean, does that bother you? Is that this thing sitting on your mind that?
Well, you're always careful, and
But am I wrong to say that it's like living a lie?
in some cases, yes.
And that doesn't bother you, or?
Sometimes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And but you think there's no use to share it with people that you say aren't ready for it.
I don't see the benefits.
Yeah. Even though that you would at least not be living a lie with whoever that person is. Wow, that's rough. I don't want to end on a depressing note.
Well, not necessarily a lie, but not the complete truth.
Yeah.
It's something
well,
else.
no, but you know, when you're with family or friends and you want to share how your life is going, you know, and you want them to not judge you, right? You want them to be.
Yeah, but that becomes second nature.
The
That's why we all use a working name, and so that's also that's the persona. It's also acting.
Is the name that you gave me also? That's not your real name.
It's not my real name.
That's not your real name. Okay, so I can put that on the episode. Is that okay? I wanted to ask. Yeah.
Which name did I give you?
Karine.
Oh, Karine. Yeah. Maybe you better use Lucy.
Lucy, you tell me whatever it is. Cool. Wow, this was really great, and I hope I wasn't too. Whatever. I'm really curious.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine when you're totally new to the subject, that you have to ask these questions. Yeah. But I was asked by a student once, because we also do lectures for students here.
Yeah.
What do you do when the client is not attractive? And I never thought about that, because that's completely not what it's about.
Right.
And it's the other way around. If the client is attractive, it's a bonus for me. So my oldest client is 98.
No.
Yes.
98 and they can still get an erection? God bless him and you. My goodness.
So he's very sweet. He has Alzheimer's, and he's very funny and cute. But no, he's not attractive. But that's not the point.
He has Alzheimer's. Does he
Ye-
remember you?
Not my name. And sometimes when I visit him, he always says, "We've met before, haven't we?" But that can also be because I say, "Hi, how are you?" That him thinking, "Oh, I'm supposed to know her. I've no idea. I forgot your name." That sort of hiding that you really have no idea who this person is.
Right.
I'm also a nurse, so I know how that works with Alzheimer.
Oh, wow.
So I say, "Hi, how are you?" And he thinks, "Oh, it seems I'm supposed to know this person.
Right.
I have no idea." So then he, "What was your name again?" And I say, "Karen." "Oh, of course." Still no idea. And of course, so people can be very good at building a facade.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, but
But what Alzheimer also does that it lowers your sense of what's appropriate. You may think, "Well, there's a nice woman in the street. I would love to grope her," but you don't do that because you get smacked over the head.
right.
Right. Alzheimer's takes that away.
And you do it.
They do it because
No.
when they have need for intimacy, and you can't have that in nursing staff or other ladies on the ward. So they thought, well, we need to do something about this, and so they contacted his daughter because she does the financial affairs and she has to agree. They said, well, there's these agencies. What do you think about? Because the other option is you can give people medication to suppress it, but that has side effects, make them drowsy, makes them more prone to falling. You don't want that.
Wow.
And the daughter said, "Why? Yeah, great. Try the agency, see if it works." She was very open-minded. So I go there every 3 weeks, and because for him, it's different for a person with an intellectual challenge or psychiatric illness because he has Alzheimer. So he has been working, and he had a very good job. So for him, money is not a problem.
Okay.
That's a different thing. And then I tell him that he can do everything with me, but not with other women. And it works.
Why? Sorry. Why do you tell him not to do with other women?
Just to remind him, because you don't want him to bother other women. That's the whole point.
Oh, in the ward. Sorry.
In the ward, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he said, "Are you jealous?" I said, "Yes."
That's amazing.
Very much. And also, when he does misbehave, the nursing staff tells him, no, that's for Karin. That's your cuddly lady. She will be there next week. And he, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, now I remember." It works.
Wow. Wow. So you're not only helping him, but you're also helping the staff.
Yeah.
Good Lord. What a story. Oh my gosh. How long have you been with this person?
I think that's about 7 years now.
And he's 98. And besides the Alzheimer's, otherwise...
Oh, physically he's indestructible.
Right.
He runs around, he dresses, does everything himself. He has had COVID twice. Still running around.
Wow. 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 Okay. That's how we're going to end this
Yeah.
podcast. That's a hell of a story. Cool. Thank you.